Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are LA.
Well, after that tough road trip, the Angels returned home last night. They took Game 1 against the Chicago White Sox. The long ball prevalent. Tonight, they unveil a former first-round pick, Caleb Cowart, in the lineup, making his Major League debut. It's Game 2 against the White Sox. As we welcome you inside the Big A and back to Angels baseball here on Fox Sports West, he's Mark Kubiza. I'm Victor Rojas, and I mentioned the power was on display last night. 2 solo shots, but considering the way the Angels offense has gone of late, you will take that. Pujols, 552nd, and then C.J. Cron with the game winner.
Yeah, Victor, what a good swing by C.J. Cron last night. Take a look at our tools of the trade brought to you by Ram Trucks. It's all about timing for C.J. Cron. He's getting that foot down. It's a pretty good pitch, a change up away, but he gets the foot down. That allows him to have that good swing path on a pitch on the outer part of the plate. You look at his home runs this year. He's got 9, 7 to left field, but 2 to right field. Stayed back on that baseball that had traveled in the zone, was up in the strike zone, changeup, hit a 388-foot shot to right center field, the winning run in the game. So he's getting more and more comfortable, C.J. Cron is, with pitches away. He was chasing them early. Now he's staying back and driving it, but it's all about that timing and getting that foot down with his swing.
Well, last night we got a terrific pitching performance by Andrew Heaney. Garrett Richards on the mound going for the Angels. John Danks for Chicago.
And Danks is throwing the ball very well against the Angels in his career. ERA under 3, 2.94 for Danks. Threw the ball very well against him in Chicago. Garrett Richards has been outstanding in home. Last 18 home starts, 11-4 with an ERA 2.35. He needs to get ahead of the count with his fastball and finish off these dangerous hitters with his slider tonight.
Danks pitched well against the Angels last week. Let's see what Garrett has in store. So we're just about ready for baseball here at the Big A. Sit back and relax. Lineups and first pitch when we return. Angels baseball is brought. Next card, CarMax. CarMax start here. By Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. By Foster Farms Fresh and Natural, locally grown and no added hormones. And by your Southern California Toyota dealers. 4-game set against the Chicago White Sox, looking to make it 2 in a row. And like we said before yesterday's ball game, they played better at home than they have out on the road. And they've run into a team that, like the Angels, have struggled out on the road. Chicago last night with their 5th consecutive road loss, so you look to take advantage of that as Garrett Richards is ready to get his warm-up pitches on. We will take a look at Robin Ventura's starting lineup for the Chicago White Sox. They stand at 55-61 on this season, 4th in the Central. They're 5.5 back of the second wild card spot. Adam Eaton leads things off at center. Jose Abreu at first base. Melky Cabrera in left. Avisail Garcia the DH. J.B. Shuck gets a start in right field. He'll bat 5th. Alexa Ramirez in short. Carlos Sanchez switch hitting second base. Bats 7th. Tyler Flowers behind the plate. Tyler Saladino batting 9th. Playing 3rd as they take on Garrett Nick, his 23rd start of the season. Did not face the White Sox in that 3-game sweep by Chicago at US Cellular Field, so maybe a little surprise for this White Sox bunch.
Yeah, especially with the stuff he can throw at you too. 95 to 98 range with this fastball. My go-tos though for Richards, to be more consistent with that fastball early on and throwing for strikes. Last 4 starts, opponents hitting .268 against him with 4 home runs. Previous 8 starts in which he threw the ball very well. Opponents only hit .231 with 3 home runs. Reason why? Of late, elevating some fastballs and getting himself into hitters' counts. Get ahead and finish off with the slider.
Check out the Angels defensively. Shane Victorino left, Mike Trout at center, Cole Calhoun in right. Mentioned Caleb Coward making his major league debut at 3rd. Eric Ibar short, Johnny Givatella 2nd, Albert Pujols at 1st, and Carlos Perez behind the plate.
Coward is a special defender at 3rd base. You're going to see one of the strongest throwing arms from that position. Had been a pitcher in high school where he can rush it up there in the mid-90s. Very, very good as far as coming in on the baseball. Good laterally from left to right also, but an extremely strong throwing arm from 3rd base.
Coward being added to the 40-man roster as the Angels designated Connor Gillespie for assignment. So any team can claim Gillespie, and that's how the Angels ended up with him. He claimed him and eventually worked out a little deal with the White Sox. So Connor's in that limbo state. Caleb Coward over at 3rd base. Adam Eaton in the batter's box. Tonight's first pitch being delivered by the UPS store. Eaton hitting .264, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs, 19 doubles, 8 triples, good speed. Had a 1-for-4 game last night. See, he flares this one into foul territory. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Beautiful night here for baseball. 76 degrees at first pitch. Warm afternoon once again here in Southern California. A slight little breeze, not a whole lot here. Breaking pitch, down goes Eaton. There's the first out of the ballgame.
Certainly a good start, especially with that sequence for Richards. The pitch before that slider was a cut fastball in at 97. Jammed him and then stayed on top with this slider very effectively. Good action on that pitch. Sometimes looks like a curveball because it goes straight down, but he will throw his curveball at 78, 79 range. His slider 88 to 90.
Jose Abreu steps in. Batting in the number 2 spot last night, back in that spot again. .293 hitter this year, 22 home runs, 69 runs batted in. Foul at the plate, and that got Carlos 0-2. Well, I mentioned that the White Sox have lost 5 in a row out on the road. They've played well against the West all season long. 14-5 against the American League West. I mentioned the issues the Angels had with them last week in Chicago. A lot of expectations coming into the season for the Sox. The acquisitions that they made, the signings as well. This is out towards center field, and it's a 2-strike single. So Braves on board with 1 out, and Melky coming up.
And when you get to that 0-2 count, you're trying to throw that fastball inside as a hitter. You're just in that protect mode. He just put the ball in play, especially after a good cut fastball away. A slider off the plate down and away probably gets a swing and miss. I know you're trying to set up a hitter, but you already have him positioned to chase a slider away.
We've seen him very susceptible to the off-speed stuff.
Especially when that cutter was the pitch before at 97.
1-0 count on Cabrera, the left fielder. Switch hitting outfielder, hitting .278. 8 home runs, 59 runs batted in. One of those signings for Chicago. Two balls, no strikes. Garrett wanted to know where that pitch was at. Paul Nart calling the balls and strikes tonight. Dana DeMuth at first base. Mike Estabrook at second. Ed Hickox over at third. Hickox called a lot of strikes last night. Ground ball to second, should be 2. Giavatello to Ibar. A double clutch there by Eric Pujols on the receiving end of the throw, and it's an inning-ending double play. Right at the bottom of the first with no score. First, we'll check out Scioscia's lineup for the Angels. Game number 119. The Halos at 61 and 57. If Shane Victorino leads things off in left field. Cole Calhoun in right. Mike Trout has continued to struggle here in the month of August. He's in center. Albert mentioned his home run last night, 552nd. He's the cleanup hitter. Crone at DH. Ibar short. Giavatello second. Carlos Perez behind the plate. Caleb Coward making his major league debut. He is at third base as they take on the native Texan John Danks on the mound. He faced the Angels last week and threw the ball well.
Danks fastball 87-92 has a good cut fastball, curveball, solid changeups. My go-tos to be successful against Danks. Think up the middle, especially with that changeup. Don't try to pull it and get yourself into favorable counts. You get ahead of the count against Danks, you can be very, very successful against him.
Victorino hitting .232, home run and 4 RBIs. As he looks at a strike, and it's 0-2. Halos last night manages 4 hits, 2 of which they'll left the building. Shane went 0 for 4. That hit him. That'll put a man on to start this bottom of the first.
That's one thing that Victorino will do. He'll get hit by a pitch. He didn't give it up on that one. He just turned his body, took a hit by pitch.
There's the defense for the White Sox. Cabrera, Eaton, and Shuck in the outfield from left to right. Saladino, Ramirez, Sanchez, and Abreu from third to first. Flowers behind the plate.
JB Shuck, we know him very, very well, is mainly playing left field here at the Big 8. His 12th start in right field this year. 3 outfield assists in that position. Cover a lot of ground in the outfield, JB Shuck, but what a play he made in left field going into the stands here, the Big A, as an Angel.
Got his eye and deep towards center field. Adam Eaton racing back at the warning track at the wall. Gone A big fly for Cole Calhoun. New career high for him, his 18th of the season, and the Angels have a 2-0 lead.
Also giving him now 65 ribeye on the season for Cole, and a perfect swing. Talking about that middle of field approach, middle of field in, out of the center field wall for Cole Calhoun. Fastball didn't quite get down and away, middle part of the plate. And a perfect swing, got that foot down, and got the barrel of the bat out there, using that leverage, the back leg, to drive that ball out to center field. What a swing by Cole.
Trout looks at a strike. There's that off-speed pitch from Danks. Evens a count at 1-1. Mike hitting .296, 33 home runs, 71 RBIs. 0 for 2 last night with a walk. One and 2. Danks at his start last Wednesday against the Angels. 7 1/3, 1 run, 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 3 walks. Back to the changeup. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Boy, Trout, that pitch before had a real good pitch to crush. Fastball pretty much the heart of the plate.
Full count. Three-two on the way. Trout pulls one down the line. Backhanded by Saladino. Nice play by the young third baseman to throw out Trout for the first out of the first.
That would have been real instant. That gets by Saladino at third base. That's going to go right down in the corner with Trout speed. That's a potential triple. This backhand, knowing he doesn't have a lot of time to gather himself, but does so in a firm throw to get Trout at first base. Saladino did a nice job. We've seen him make some solid plays at third base, and what a throw. That ball was scolded too by Trout right down the line.
Albert looks the first pitch changeup for a strike. Albert strikes one deep to left field. That's a no-doubter. Huge big fly for Albert Pujols. 553rd, 3-0 Halos.
Boy, that's now 3 home runs in the last 4 games for Albert. Baseball was rushed off the bat by Albert. Starting to get hot. Extremely important for this offense. Getting that foot down and a pitch elevated. Off speed, and he crushed it. A absolute missile. See where he got that ball out in front like that, right at the belt, out of the ballpark for Albert.
That's a couple of swings now for Albert where he has not pulled off the baseball. Kind of what we saw early on the first couple of months of the season. Of late, that hasn't been the case, but if he can get back on track as far as driving the baseball, helps this offense tremendously. And Cron hits one off the end of the bat out to left. Out in front of the off-speed pitch. Cabrera puts it away for out number 2.
Keep in mind, this is generated all with Albert Pujols. This is an all-speed pitch at 76 miles an hour. Look how far that baseball went. Into the Angels bullpen. That's the second tier of the bullpen. The first time the Angels have scored 3 runs in the first inning since July 7th in Colorado. That's when the offense was really on a roll in Texas and into Colorado.
Well, Albert's home run last night was the first home run the Angels have had against a left-handed pitcher since July 20th. Ibar fouls it back. Hit 2 more tonight. Angels have only hit .233 against left-handed pitching this year. That number's gone down dramatically over the second half, right after the All-Star break. .248 against righties. And that's a pretty low number for a team that's not necessarily featuring 5 left-handed hitters up there. I mean, that's a full right-handed complement.
Majority of the power is from the right side. Outside of Cole Calhoun, who now has a career high as far as home runs.
Little number back to the mound. Dax has it. That'll do it for the Angels, but the Halo strike with a long ball. 2-run blast by Cole Calhoun, 18th of the year, new career high, and Albert with his 553rd.
Absolute perfect swings from Cole and from Albert. The machine is starting to roll. From Cole Calhoun and Albert Pujols. 2-run home run by Cole, solo shot by Albert Pujols.
Garcia, Shuck, and Ramirez here in the second for the Sox. Garcia, the DH, 264 on the year, 11 home runs, 45 runs batted in. 2 for 3 night last night, double and a single, also a fly ball to center, and it was pinch hit for in the 8th inning. A curious move considering White Sox at the time down 2-1. Garcia swung the bat well against the Angels in 2 series so far. Tied him up with a pretty good fastball. 1-1. This is shot to right, a base hit. Continues to swing the bat well against the Angels. Calhoun bobbles it, and Garcia will take second. That'll be Cole's 4th error.
What a swing again by Garcia, using that other part of the field on a 96-mile-an-hour cut fastball. Just unable to get that glove down quick enough. It was in position to try to field and get it in quickly, but didn't look the ball into the glove for Cole. Don't see that too often with him in right field. 4th error of the season, go along with his 7 outfield assists.
There's Jamie Shuck, the former Angel, hitting .286, 6 doubles, a triple, 11 RBIs. Pinch hit last night. Got a single. Infield variety. Halos getting 3 runs in the first and a couple of home runs. Ground ball to second. That'll move Garcia to third. 1 down.
And coming up later in the game, we'll check out the big news from around the majors on the Carl's Jr. Sports Update. Can we see a little Vandermeer today in baseball? And the Jays in the city of brotherly love.
Hisashi Iwakumamir, possibility?
Possibility. You never know. That'd be a very difficult record to break. That means you have to have 3 no-hitters to break it.
Yeah, I mean, just to tie it is enough of a challenge.
Or just for me, 1 inning.
Ramirez didn't go around. That's 1 ball, no strikes. The shortstop hitting .248, home runs, 44 runs batted in. I mean, I think you're right. Everyone talks about Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak being the toughest to break. But when you think about it, 3 consecutive no-hitters to break the record.
Yeah.
In today's game, where starters seldom work deep, or finish games, I should say work deep. Complete games are really kind of going out the window.
I mean, you think of one guy that you would think maybe because how strong he is Clayton Kershaw may have a shot, but still, that's 3 complete games with no hits allowed.
Well, the backup breaking ball there, got a piece of it. It's 1-2. Not only that, Gooby, I think, and this is no disrespect meant to official scores, but the way games are scored nowadays, a lot different than back in the day where, you know, an error was an error was an error. Today, it's like, that's a base hit.
Especially with all the guys going to the backhand. Very difficult to call an error on plays not that far back in baseball where they're in front of that baseball to make a play.
Or going into a slide. Garcia at third, the 1-2 to Ramirez. And they want an appeal. Looked like he went from up here.
Yeah, I mean, from that angle we saw from up top. There's no question.
Not sure what Dana DeMuth is checking out, but 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball to short, and that'll bring in a run. Ibar has it. Out at first. White Sox might take a look at it. Cost the Angels a run, though, on the non-call on the check swing. It's 3-1. Robbins having his guys downstairs take a gander at it.
See where that throw in the glove. Yeah, it looks like he's got him.
No argument from Robin. So 2 outs, Nobleton and Sanchez now up.
I mean, what Ramirez got down there really fast, forcing a strong throw from Eric Ibar to get him.
Ramirez picking up his 45th RBI. So 2 things happening with that run. The error, of course, by Cole allowing Garcia to get to second, and now the non-call on the check swing. So it's 3-1. Carlos Sanchez, switch hitting second baseman, hitting .231. Got into the game last night, pinch hit in the ninth, struck out against Houston Street. 16 doubles on the year, 1 triple.
It's a good curveball from Garrett. That's a pitch I think as he progresses in his career, he's got to use that a little bit more so.
Dow remains at 0-2. Broken bat roller to second. There's the third out. The Sox get one of those runs back. It's an unearned run as we head to the bottom of the second. 3-1 Angels. He takes on dangerous double threat Charles Oliveira plus a welterweight showdown between Neil Magny and Eric Silva. Catch UFC Fight Night Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
That should be a real good one there. That's some great fights this year on UFC fights that I've seen on TV.
Givatello, Perez, and Coward. For the Angels here in the second against John Danks. Gave up 2 home runs in the first. Calhoun a 2-run shot. Pujols a solo shot. Givatello hitting .269, 3 home runs, 40 runs batted in. 2-1 count. DeAndre Jordan, the first row behind the Angels dugout. Through the ceremonial first pitch tonight.
Very well, too.
It's had kind of a boring offseason for him.
It's probably just flying by the offseason, don't you think?
Yeah. Hasn't answered too many questions. When do the Clips play the Mavericks? In Dallas. Early, I think, too.
I think it is. That should be
November 11th.
That should be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That's real early in the season.
Givatello reaching for the changeup, rolls one to Saladino. Throws out Givatello for the first out.
Clippers made a lot of moves this offseason. Paul Pierce is the guy that I really like. Even though he's played a long time, what about a guy with a deadly outside shot?
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Yes, indeed.
Here's Carlos Perez. 28 on the season, a couple of home runs, 14 runs batted in. Back-to-back starts for Carlos. In fact, of the last 6 games, including tonight, Carlos has caught 5 of those. I netted catching on Sunday night. One ball, 2 strikes. There's Chris. A tough go for him in the month of August. And really, for the most part, you could just insert name and then finish off with tough month of August.
Yeah, exactly.
On the offensive side for the Angels. It really has. I mean, it's just unfortunately for this Angels team, it just continues to kind of manifest itself. And you hope that you take last night 2-1 win, and all of a sudden it kind of rolls into a good homestand where the guys get on a roll offensively. Not easy either. You got the Sox for 2 more. They boat race in Chicago. Then you've got the Toronto Blue Jays coming in for a weekend series. Perez goes down swinging on the changeup. That's 4 straight retired by Dank since the Pujols home run.
My Hyundai key for this game is to be successful. A little K-camp, comfortable swings in the batter's box. Important. Tom Baylor has said that over the last few days for the hitters. Just get comfortable in the batter's box. Don't try to do too much. Let those hands get through in your good swing path, and don't try to do too much at the plate. See the baseball and use the middle of the field.
First round pick in 2010, the 18th overall selection at a high school in Adel, Georgia. A 23-year-old making his major league debut tonight at third base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Started the season at A ball this year. 51 games at 242. Went to AAA. Just over 60 games at 323. 6 home runs, 45 RBIs. He tops this one foul. And is in the hole at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I remember seeing him in spring training a few seasons ago. He was crushing everything, playing outstanding defense, and he was very young, 19, 20 years old. Asking people in the organization, would it be a shot at getting him up quickly because you have Mike Trout making it up there so early? We're just going to take their time, and he struggled for a couple seasons in Double-A.
He goes down swinging in his first big league at bat. The Angels go down in order. We'll head to the third. Halos leading at 3-1. Halos on top. Flowers, Saladino, and Eaton coming up to face Garrett Richards. Richards 1 strikeout, 2 hits allowed. Run in the second inning unearned. This one rolled foul. Flowers, the catcher, hitting .215, 8 home runs, 29 runs batted in. 0 for 3 night. Last night, a couple of punch outs. Good fastball, just blew right by him.
He's throwing him off with a slider first pitch. Next one, 96 mile an hour fastball.
A little better command tonight for Garrett here in the early going. Seems like more under control.
Yeah, 4 times already in this game he's had an 0-2 count against the batter.
Coming off a no decision his last start against Kansas City. It's downstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ended up giving up 3 runs on 8 hits and 6 innings of work. That was the game on Thursday night, the opening game of that 4-game set. And the Angels came back and won. The big 8th and 9th innings. Got him off the hook. This one skied on the right side. Pujols calling for it. 1 down.
We had a long conversation just a couple days ago with Richards about this time of the year, the innings piling up, the pitches, trying to figure out a way to stay fresh, especially in August when you're throwing a lot, coming back, accelerating as far as coming back, last year with that injury to his knee, starting on the DL, and then really has thrown the ball for the most part very well, but you just try to find a routine to keep that arm fresh as you progress from the end of August into September.
Toughest part for young pitchers that haven't had full seasons of big league life, getting acclimated to that extra month of the season as the innings, as you mentioned, pile up.
It's really routine, especially in between starts. You're used to throwing your bullpen sessions. It's a lot of times, especially with Garrett with his arm, he has power bullpens. So he's got to really take a couple steps back, maybe not throw as long of a bullpen. You want to still pitch on that incline of a mound down in the bullpen, but just throw a few less pitches.
So rocketed foul and out of play. Count remains at 0-2.
It's funny, I was telling him a story that Rick Sutcliffe told me once when early in my career I ran into him. I talked about the exact same thing, bullpen sessions in August. He said, just go down and wear your sneakers or tennis shoes and throw your bullpen session there. You can still have the feel for the incline of the mound, but you're not going to throw as hard because you're in tennis shoes.
Broken bat bounce over to third. That shattered in his hand. Coward throws out Saladino, 2 outs. Hey folks, join us on Thursday for Singles Night presented by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County for only $31. Receive a game ticket, Angels Glow Cup, admission to a pregame mixer, drink specials, and a chance to meet your match. For more info and to purchase those tickets, just go to angels.com/singles. Speaking of chance to meet your match, we're going to be down at the Diamond Club tomorrow night broadcasting the game. So swing on by. Or just yell at us, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Nor the last.
No. Gosh, I hope not.
You make you feel wanted that way.
Exactly. Had a beat, 0 for 1 as he struck out in the first. That sounded like he broke his bat too. Pujols will take it himself. And a 1-2-3 inning for Garrett. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. Top of the order coming up for the Angels.
Tries to go Vandermeer, he pitched very well in Texas, but did give up 5 hits, went 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, as Seattle leads Texas 3-2 in the bottom of the 9th. And will the Jays find brotherly love in Philly? Will they win that game 8-5? Josh Donaldson with 2 more home runs tonight for Toronto.
Got to say that Josh Donaldson has to be the leader in the clubhouse right now for American League MVP.
33 home runs now.
He has been on a roll. Good to see those two go at it this weekend. Trout, Donaldson. Mike can get it going once again. Victorino, Calhoun, Trout for the Angels here in the 3rd against Danks. Shane was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the 1st. This is out towards shallow right center. Sanchez, the second baseman, calling for it. One away.
And now it's time for In the Driver's Seat, brought to you by Kia, with Cole Calhoun coming to the plate. 2-run home run in the 1st inning. His 18th home run of the season, had 17 all of last year. The Angels are 41-16 when scoring first. 21 games under 500 when their opponent scores first.
Home run at Cole, hit in the 1st inning, 2-run shot, his 18th of the season. New career high for him, 65 runs batted in as well. Danks starting to get locked into the way he's pitched since the Pujols home run. He's retired 6 straight.
Really starting to change speeds very well.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Mixing in that fastball just enough. Went at 90 miles an hour. Jamie Moyer, who did throw hard, used to break a lot of bats during his career, a very solid career. He still that fastball 83, 84 inside, jam hitter, then go back with the changeup away and even a little further away as it at bat progressed.
Danks still works quickly, although now at the modified windup. Danks now 30 years of age. Had shoulder surgery in 2012. Former 1st-round pick in 03 by the Rangers. Cole strikes out, swinging 2 down. 3rd strikeout now for Danks.
Just looking at numbers for Trout, especially on the 1st pitch. He's only swung at the 1st pitch 10.7% of the time. But against Danks, if he throws that fastball, he's been throwing a lot of 1st pitch strikes. This might be the time to be aggressive on the 1st pitch if you're Mike Trout.
Mike grounded out sharply to Saladino at 3rd base. His 1st time up. Takes a change up downstairs. Both teams with 2 hits, 2 singles for Chicago, 2 home runs for the Angels. It's good to see Mike pulling the baseball, because over the last couple of weeks we haven't seen that a lot. Majority of the stuff's been more towards center to right field.
He's been pitched inside a lot of late.
Chases, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Full count with Pujols on deck. He bounced that one. That's the first free pass issued by either pitcher. They bring up Albert. 5:53 now. Too shy of tying Manny Ramirez for 14th all time. Third home run of the season, now with 69 RBIs. At one point, remember, Trout and Pujols 1 and 2 in that home run category. 3 and 4 coming into tonight. Now tied third. There's a strike. Nelson Cruz is 36 coming into today. Chris Davis with 34.
Both of those guys have been extremely hot of late.
Davis missed out last night at center field.
He's got robbed about 3 or 4 times this year of would-be home runs.
It's too high.
Yes. You camp underneath and make that leap at the wall.
A check on him at first base.
And Dank's very difficult to steal against. He has a plus move to first base.
Albert, ground ball to short. There's that changeup again. For the first. There's the third out. 3 complete here at the Big A. The Angels maintaining a 3-1 lead. Angels broadcast, and it's brought to you by T-Mobile. Richards back to work, facing 2, 3, and 4 here in this 4th inning. Abreu with a base hit to center. The first is 1 for 1. This one foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
Another 0-2 count for Richards. 6th time in the game so far. through that slider. Still think that's the right pitch to go after. Abreu had a nice job of going the other way on the middle part of the field on a fastball in his last at bat on an 0-2 pitch.
Ground ball back up the middle. Giavotella dives and he can't come up with it. And another fastball, a base hit by Abreu.
On the follow through, Richards. And it's in a position because he falls towards first base. Never really in a perfect fielding position for Richards. Back up through the middle for a base hit.
There's Melky Cabrera. Grounded into it. Hitting a double play in the first. He's 0 for 1. So Abreu now 2 of the 3 hits Garrett has allowed.
And both times against Abreu was up in the at bat 0-2.
Ground ball toward first. Pujols has it. Fires to short for 1. The relay back, and that's in time.
What a textbook 3-6-3 double play. Perfect throw by Albert, and a great feed back by Ibar. It's not an easy play to turn 2 on that one. Gets off the base quickly. That prep step in position. Clear path to make the throw to Eric, who makes a firm throw back to first base to be able to complete the 3-6-3 double play. It's all about getting that perfect position for the throw for Albert. And Abreu doesn't go into a slide, so Eric threw that one almost right over his back to complete another double play. It looked like he stepped on the back of Albert's foot, because Albert, because he's trying to find the base after he threw the baseball, had his foot a little bit too much of the base going down the line. Cabrera stepped on him. Certainly not, there was no intent behind it, because Albert had a lot of his foot on the base at that point.
Broken bat roller to Coward. Third base. Has to hurry. There's that arm you were talking about. A single double play ball and a ground down to Caleb Coward. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Still 3-1 Halos.
The bottom of the 4th inning. I'm Alex Curry, and before the game, the Angels had a special guest here today, Clipper center DeAndre Jordan, who threw out the ceremonial first pitch. So let's take a look back at that AT&T rewind. And when I talked to him, he said he was extremely nervous. So he called his younger brother, who plays in the Yankees organization, to get some advice, but he also saw his teammate Paul Pierce throw a ball into the dirt at Dodgers Stadium earlier this offseason. So after he called his brother and he saw that, he talked to Hector Santiago. They threw a couple practice pitches down in the dugout. It was kind of funny when he was out there on the mound, as you saw, calling off a couple pitches, but I'd say he did a pretty good job, guys, don't you think?
Yeah, he hit the catcher.
That was good.
That's a huge step for him.
And some movement on the pitch.
Yeah.
I thought Randy Johnson, after he delivered the baseball, was close to home plate. DeAndre Jordan is basically shaking Hector Santiago's hand when he delivered that baseball.
2-0 to Crone. He swings through the changeup. 2 balls in a strike. Crone, Ibar, Giavotella here in the 4th.
And you look at what he's done in the last 35 games.
Oh, that's driven out towards center field. Just got underneath it, I believe, as he moves back and just in front of the track makes the catch.
Yeah, he almost added on some more numbers, what he's done in the last 35 games since coming back up from AAA. Numbers well in the 300s. 349 with 8 home runs. Just missed that one. Just got underneath. He's actually had a couple swings so far in this game. He just missed it in 2 home runs.
This one down the line, foul, out of play.
We can see how C.J. Crone just missed this. Foot is down, the swing, and just got underneath it enough to keep that in the ballpark. Still a solid swing for C.J. Crone, using that entire field.
Ball and 2 strikes on Aaron. Little dribbler back to the mound in the 1st inning. Two and 2. He's got that feel for the changeup tonight, that's for sure, just like he did the other night.
And he's turning over his fastball too, so it's difficult to track as a hitter. Both those pitchers are going away. One's at 83, the other's around 88, 89 range.
Two down.
He's getting that cut fastball in also to keep that outer part of the plate open for both his 2-seam fastball and changeup. Goal was a hitter on that cut fastball is get that out in front. So once that gets inside enough, when you're going through your swing, it's going to get that on the handle of the bat a lot. Your goal is to try to get that bat head out, get the barrel out on the cutter, and it can go a long way at that point.
Giavotella pulls it foul for strike 1. Johnny grounded out to 3rd, leading off the 2nd inning. Danks with 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 2 hits allowed. The 2 home runs in the 1st. The Angels striking for 3 runs in the 1st inning. Ground ball down the line. That is a fair ball. Saladino couldn't come up with it. Giavotella rounds first. Will head to 2nd with a 2-out double. 21st of the year for Johnny.
Johnny able to pull this off-speed pitch. Stayed back on that one well. Went down and got that lower part of the strike zone and got it by Saladino. Not an easy thing to do.
Man in scoring position for the Angels. They were 0 for 2 last night. Carlos Perez struck out in the second, so he's 0 for 1. Texas, by the way, ended up losing to Seattle tonight, 3-2. Houston, the Rays, and the Astros tied at 2 in the ninth. Down and in. Just when you think, I mean, when you talk about going both sides of the plate, east and the west with Danks right now, you're guarding away for the changeup, which is where he's lived with that pitch, and all of a sudden, little fastball cutter in right on the knuckles.
You know, like I said, it's a lot like Jamie Moyer, although Danks throws harder than Moyer. It's that inside part of the plate so effective. Back in there again.
You see the velocity. I mean, it's 87, 89. Nothing fancy.
Breaks a lot of bats because you have no choice but to look away on that changeup or two-seamer away.
Ground ball toward third. Saladino has it on the backhand. Across the diamond, high throw, and it pulls off Abreu. Off the glove, the run scores. Perez to second. It's a 4-1 lead.
And Giavotella never stopped as he was going around third. Even if he's going to catch that baseball off the base, there would have been a play at the plate. Good job by Giavotella on his base running there as he scores the fourth run of the game for the Halos. Saladino had time, but then the high throw drops his elbow. As Abreu tried to keep his foot on the base. That's the thing. You can go up and get that baseball first and foremost and still maybe get your foot down. But you're trying to prevent a run at that point on a high throw.
I think he limited himself in catching that ball because he tried to keep the foot on the bag.
Yeah, sometimes when you gain experience at first base, it's all about preventing a run potentially. The throw was high. You're not going to be able to get your foot down in time, so just prevent the run from scoring. Unable to do so.
72nd error committed by the Sox for Saladino. That's his third. There's Coward. First big league at bat, a strikeout. This one over to third. Saladino's been busy. And there's the third out. The Angels get a run on the error by Saladino. 4 complete. 4-1 Halos. Highway miles per gallon. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com. By AT&T Uverse. More live channels on the go than cable.
And by Subaru. Test drive the all-new 2015 Subaru Forester or go to Subaru.com to learn more.
Halos up 4-1. Angels gave the White Sox a run on air, and they got one back, courtesy of the White Sox in the bottom of the fourth. So Garrett back to work here in the fifth, facing Schuck, Ramirez, and Sanchez. 5, 6, and 7 for Chicago. JB getting to start in right field tonight.
Solid pitch count so far for Richards, 42 through 4 innings.
And most pitches he's thrown tonight in any one inning, 14. That was in the second. But limited that to just the one unearned run. Chuck grounded out to Giavotella, the second inning. 129 games in 2013 was his rookie campaign. And then the fifth that year in the American League Rookie of the Year award. Played a lot of left field for the Angels.
Good throwing arm also.
He had several assists that year, didn't he?
It's 4 so far this year, total as an outfielder.
Broken bat roller. It's foul. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Ten outs so far in this game via the ground ball. A couple double plays. Turn behind Garrett Richards tonight. He is a ground ball pitcher who gets strikeouts with his slider and fastball. And when he's on his game, he's getting ground ball outs.
Full count. A little quick with that breaking pitch. First full count of the night for Garrett. And down goes Schuck. One away. Second strikeout of the night for Garrett. Hey fans, the Angels host the Blue Jays Friday night, 7:05. Fans in attendance will receive a snapback hat courtesy of St. Joseph Hogue Health while supplies last. Get your tickets by visiting the Angels Stadium ticket office, or you can buy your tickets online. I think right now, tentatively, it's David Price going for the Toronto Blue Jays on that Friday.
It's be a lot of fun to see them come into town. Some serious threats in that lineup, 1 through 9.
Ground ball to the right side. Giavotella has it going to his left. 2 down.
Well played by Johnny Giavotella. Stayed down on that baseball, and of course Albert always has something to say. Same thing with Eric Ibar.
Beach ball on the warning track in right field, so a little bit of a delay here. Sanchez grounded out to Giavotella to end the second inning. Sanchez, 23-year-old, native of Venezuela. Takes upstairs. In his 83rd game at the major league level this year. Got into 28 games last year. Pretty much their, I think their everyday second baseman going forward. So chopper to the left side. Coward has it. Makes it look easy. A 1-2-3 inning.
He's been very aggressive at third base, and that throwing arm is outstanding.
It's the Giants and Pirates looking to improve their playoff chances. Then the Rangers take on the Tigers. Coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
The Giants trying to get back in that wild card race with Pittsburgh and Chicago leading those two spots in the wild card.
1, 2, and 3 for the Angels here. Victorino, Calhoun, and Trout. Game in Houston, by the way, has gone to extra innings. The 11th tied at 2, the Rays and the Astros. Texas lost earlier tonight. Toronto won. Baltimore lost.
Yankees came back and beat Minnesota. A-Rod with a grand slam in that game, I think.
A-bomb for A-Rod.
Yes.
Yankees at the start of the day, a game lead on the Blue Jays. They caught the inside corner apparently. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Victorino tonight hit by a pitch and a run scored. He's also popped out. Toronto, Baltimore sitting atop the wild card, 1 and 2. Ground ball to short. 1 down. Brings up Cole.
Big 2-run home run in the first for Cole. Career high 18 home runs now for Cole Calhoun. Dead center field. Hyundai key for this game. Talked about comfortable. And early on, some comfortable at bats against Danks, using the whole field, the middle of the field. But since that point, though, he's made an adjustment himself. Hitters have to do the same now.
.75 pitches thrown by Danks. 45 have been strikes. 3 punch outs and a walk. 3 hits allowed. Pulls this one over to first, and Abreu will take it himself. 2 down.
Center fielder, number 27,
Trout 0 for 1, a ground down and a walk. 4-1 Angels here in the 5th.
Change up away.
Pulls this one to third. Saladino has it on 2 hops. Gets rid of it quickly. Pulls Abreu off the bag. The tag is applied. I got to ask you something, though. The tag was applied. The ball popped out of the glove. You've got to have control.
You're hoping Trout's okay also going down that line. The tag is definitely applied.
Okay, the ball stayed in the glove. Okay, it appears if Mike Socha is still having that conversation with Paul Nart, the home plate umpire. The replay, it seemed to appear as if the ball stayed in the glove long enough. Live action made it appear as if the ball kind of slipped out of the glove. So the Angels are done. We will head to the 6th. 4-1 Angels.
Game summary early on. Some power for the Halos. Cole Calhoun, a 2-run home run to center field, his 18th, which is a career high. And then Albert Pujols, number 553, big fly, 3rd home run in his last 4 games for Albert Pujols. And so far in this game, Garrett Richards has been very good. That 96-mile-an-hour cut fastball gets a swing and miss against J.B. Schott.
In the 6th inning, it's 8-9-1 for Chicago. Flowers, Saladino, and Eaton. 52 pitches, 5 innings of work, 2 strikeouts, no walks, 3 hits, 1 run unearned. Caught the inside corner for strike 1. Flowers popped out his first time up. Georgia native, lives in the Atlanta Braves system. And the 6-mile-per-hour fastball fouled back. It's 0-2. That almost took out Saladino on deck. That'll wake you up.
It better. 7th 0-2 count for Richards.
Good breaking ball down. Goes Flowers. Perez will have to throw down to Pujols. They complete the strikeout. 1 out. Bring up Saladino. Here's the hot upcoming schedule for the Halos. 2 more against the Sox, both night games, and 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. Remember, it's a 7:05 start on Friday, 6:37 start on Saturday, but it's because it's a Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Mike Witt, Dean Chance, and who else is going in? Oh, that's right, Tim Salmon. Yeah, Tim Salmon's going in on Saturday. And 12:35 on Sunday. Almost forgot Fish. Better not forget him on Saturday in the intro.
Can you imagine?
That would blow.
Mr. Angel himself.
I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
It slipped my mind.
This one lined right back up the middle. A 1-out single for Saladino. Now 1 for 2. They'll bring up Eaton. I think we should wear the Hawaiian t-shirt giveaway with the number 15 on it.
Oh, yeah. In his honor, definitely.
For the Team USA jerseys.
With 15 on, it also. For Tim.
Astros ended up winning in the bottom of the 10th. They walked off. Marwin Gonzalez with a home run.
I was going to say, it had to be a home run.
Yeah.
Houston 41-20 at home this year.
So Texas with its loss now at 4 back in the standings. Angels needing a victory to remain 2.5 back. Saladino takes off and no throws. That pitch was down and in. 5th stolen base for Saladino.
Cut fastball. Tried to be quick on the transfer, unable to get the grip on the baseball, though. How much movement that fastball had from Richards.
Eaton 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. A hole here to ball and 2 strikes. Abreu on deck. He's got a couple of hits tonight. Breaking ball with a slow roller toward Albert. 2 down. Saladino over to 3rd. Hey folks, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP. 2 outs, a man at third base, and Abreu up. 2 singles for him tonight. Top part of the zone for strike one.
And firm at 96. Again, ahead of the count against Brewers. All 3 at bats, 0-2. 8th time in this game for Richards to get ahead of the count, 0-2.
Breaking ball and just missed out.
That was a lot closer to the strike zone than you think because it's crossed the plate very close to a strike. It was a curveball he threw him. 65 pitches for Richards, 47 in the strike zone. Very solid ratio.
Check swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Handles with 3 runs in the first, 1 in the fourth. The Sox with 1 run. That was in the second inning. They're trying to keep it that way with 2 outs. Man at third base. White Sox with a run on 4 hits, 1 error. They haven't left anybody on base as of yet. 4 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 stranded for the Angels. Full count. So if you're Abreu, you're probably sitting dead red since you've just got a couple of off-speed pitches in this. If you're Garrett, would you try to lock him up with a big curveball?
Yeah, I give it a shot. That 0-2 curveball he threw could have been called a strike. And that was the right pitch because a little bit different speed because everything's been hard, whether it's a hard slider or a cut fastball against Abreu.
But Melky Cabrera on deck. Good fastball. This one's out toward left center field. Victorino's not going to get there. It'll go to the wall. Abreu with his 3rd hit of the night, and it's 4-2 Angels. Again, he's geared up for the fastball. Yeah, all 3 hits tonight have been on that fastball. All 3 hits with 2 strikes.
Boys, he's had some good at bats. Looks like he got underneath that one, more of a slider, cut fastball, but he went down and got it. You see how he was able to stay back on him because everything's firm. The one pitch he looked awkward with was against the curveball at 80 miles an hour. So now 4 for 7. Check that, 4 for 6 in his career versus Richards with 4 RBI.
Double his 22nd of the year, 70th run batted in. And Cabrera looks at a strike. Melky twice has grounded into inning-ending double plays in the 1st and 4th. Almost got him to chase on that pitch. Did not go.
That was real close to a swing on that hard slider.
Ground ball foul up the third base side. 1-2. Handles in the bottom of the sixth have Pujols, Crone, and Ibar coming up. There's John Danks. He retired the sign in order in the fifth inning. Second time he's done that tonight. Breaking pitch, got him to chase it. Bounced it foul.
That was a good curveball. It's 79 miles an hour.
Two balls, two strikes.
A little off the outside corner.
That one took foul off the facing of the dugout. It rolls back toward the hitting circle. Garrett's thrown 23 pitches so far this inning. Very manageable pitch count coming into this inning.
Don't see that too often when your shortstop comes in for a quick conversation. It's certainly not going to be more likely about a pickoff. It's about pitch selection here. What Eric is seeing from Cabrera, it is swings against Richards. Because he's seeing some pretty good hacks against his slider and curveball. He came away with a cut fastball at 97. Tied him up on that one.
Now I'm sure you've had a lot of infielders come to the mound area when you were on the mound. Many probably said something to you. Did you ever hear any words spoken to you?
No, I just said, just go back to your position and field the ground ball,
just
please.
Nodded?
Yeah, I got you covered.
Moving on.
Yeah, I throw a fastball and a slider. There's a pretty good chance you're going to be right 50% of the time, but you tell me to throw.
Another 2-2 on the way. And Cabrera goes down swinging. And that'll do it for the Sox. They get a run. Halos lead it, I should say, 4-2. Coming up, it's an all-2 Gooby Tuesday. What is your favorite pizza topping? Can't wait. Find out next.
Who knew?
Just gonna have to go original pepperoni. I think that's a good go-to of mine.
I'm simple. Just cheese, pepperoni. I mean, if I could load that thing with cheese with a little bit of bread, I would be fine.
So you're basically Kevin from Home Alone then?
Pretty much.
I'd go with veggies. I'm a big veggies guy, but no black olives. Can't stand that taste.
I love the fact you don't like black olives. That's my kryptonite.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. It just doesn't taste good.
Incredible. What about you, Gilby? What is your favorite pizza topping?
I'm a cheese pizza guy. You know that. You know that well.
You are.
I am Kevin from Home Alone.
You dread it when there's whatever.
Yeah, if you put pepperoni, sausage.
Peel it right off.
Yes. I'm a cheese pizza guy.
No vegetables for you?
No.
Not a pizza? What about the whole pineapple thing?
No.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, it's not a pizza.
Not there's anything wrong with pineapple.
No, I like pineapple,
right,
but not on my pizza.
No, Albert fouls it off. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
How about you?
Italian sausage. Albert 1 for 2 tonight. Pepperoni too. Albert fouls it off.
And take a look at Albert's swing earlier in the game in the first inning, in which he hit a home run. After this at bat, the timing that he had in that at bat, trying to keep it in the timing at this at bat.
Just got a piece of it, fouls it back. Home run to Albert, hit in the first inning, his 33rd of the year. Pulls this one foul.
Well, even when he's been out in front, he's starting to drive the ball very well. That timing mechanism.
This one's popped up shallow right. Sanchez out there, second baseman takes charge, 1 away.
And now it's time for the top tier play of the game, brought to you by Arco. We're going to see that swing from Albert, getting that foot down and getting the leverage, the eye on the baseball, the elevated pitch, rated belt level. But it's all about the timing of getting that foot down and then the swing path to be able to square that one up to hit it out of the ballpark. For Albert Pujols, 553. What a swing he had, but again, it's all predicated on getting that foot down and that swing get through the zone and quickly barrel it up.
Crow takes up and hit. TJ 0 for 2, a fly ball to left and a fly ball to center. Just got underneath the one in the 4th inning out to center field. Fouls that one into the mitt. Evens up the count. Got jammed and rolls one over to Saladino. He's been busy tonight. 2 outs. So they'll bring up Ibar, who's 0 for 2. Eric just 1 for 9 since his return to the lineup on Sunday. With a sore back. He dribbled up the third base line. Danks off the mound quickly. Low throw, dug out by Abreu. And Dana DeMuth rings up Ibar. Another 1-2-3 inning for Danks. 6 complete. Halos leading it 4-2. with Junior Angels Kids Club merchandise. Each kit includes an Angels shirt, socks, shoelaces, and more. For only $18, they can be the star of the classroom. Visit angels.com/juniorangels for more info and purchase that kit today. Almost read shoelace. You only get one. It's the end thing now, right?
Yes.
I have no idea.
Leaving them untied, that's for sure.
I have no clue. Shocker. There's the understatement of the year. Jared Richards back to work here in the 7th. 4-2 Halos. Garcia, Shuck, and Ramirez. Garrett with 4 strikeouts. No walks. 5 hits allowed. Garcia, the DH, has one of those hits. He's 1 for 2 with a single. Ground ball to third. Oh, he tied him up nicely with that fastball up and in.
.95-mile-an-hour fastball up and in. You back it up with another fastball, you go slider away. He went fastball away, but it was upstairs. You go fastball away. If you keep it down to the knees, you got a good chance of getting a ground ball out. 81 pitches thrown for Richards, 58 strikes. Very good so far.
Over to third, backhanded by Coward. Long throw, and it pulls Pujols off the bag. Garcia getting down that line. That's an infield base hit.
It's a long throw for Cowart, right down the line, just inside the bag. Plant it. It's a little bit of a high throw, but Garcia's beating that one out anyhow with his speed going down the line.
So leadoff infield base hit puts a man on for J.B. Shuck. Shuck 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. Two balls, no strikes. .84 pitches for Garrett. Extended a little bit in that 6th inning. 2-out double to Abreu, making it 4-2 Angels. Bouncer toward first. Albert's got it. Double clutch there, so they only get the lead runner, Garcia. 1 down. Shuck reaches on the fielder's choice. So Shuck now on board. 4 stolen bases for him. He's been caught 3 times. And Alexi Ramirez up. The shortstop 0 for 2.
Last inning, though, the White Sox were aggressive stealing a base. And Richards with already 2 double plays turned behind him. Love another one here to finish off the 7th.
Chuck starting to go, then stopped as Ramirez bounces it foul. So 0-2.
And Ramirez has grounded into 15 double plays. He's already had 2 ground ball outs. 1 to short, 1 to second.
Long hold there for Garrett. Upstairs, 1-2.
Like so, she's going through the signs. That's not for pitch selection. It's whether to throw over the first base or not.
Ground ball to short. Ibar comes in, feeds Giavatello for 1. The relay back to first in time. Third double play turned by the Halos tonight. Stretch time here at the Big A. 4-2 Halos. At 10 innings, Texas lost to Seattle 3-2. The Orioles lost to the Mets. Toronto defeated Philadelphia 8-5. Kansas City final now over Cincinnati took 13 innings, and it's in the Yankees over Minnesota 8-4. Here it's 4-2 Angels, bottom of the 7th. Giavatello, Perez, and Cowart due up.
Boy, slow curveball from Danks. He is really mixing and matching very well after that tough first inning. We give up 2 home runs.
Giavatello 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. Double for Johnny, his 21st. Scored on the throwing error by Saladino. Bouncer that Perez hit. Dax with 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, just 3 hits allowed. 2 of which were home runs in the first. Halos had 4 hits last night in their victory, 3 so far tonight. Ground ball to short.
Boy, a lot of jam shots against Danks.
.93 pitches for the lefty. 59 have been strikes. Carlos 0 for 2. A strikeout. Mentioned the error by Saladino.
So Richards is still in the game. Focus.
Carlos pulls one down the line. That'll go for extra bases. He will slam on the brakes. 8th double of the season for Perez.
This time went down and got that pitch on the inner half. Stayed back on that one, brought his hands in and drove that one right down the line. 8th double. He was thinking potentially if that ball had a tough time being picked up down in left field by Cabrera, he was thinking triple. In scoring position, perfect time to get Coward his first career major league hit and get an RBI out of it also.
Making his debut tonight at third base. He's 0 for 2 so far. That one's inside. Coward, 23 years of age, native of Adel, Georgia, just north of Valdosta. Committed to Florida State. Just took him in the first round, 2010, and signing him. A lot of teams thought he was a high draft pick as a pitcher. Terrific numbers in high school, especially in his senior year. 2 balls, no strikes.
He's a real big fan of Chipper Jones.
Struggled last year at Double-A. Did away with the switch hitting, but went back to it this year. Little chip on the shoulder in the offseason. The Angels had an opportunity to protect him on the 40-man roster after 3 years of service in the minor leagues. You either have to be put on the roster or be subjected to the Rule 5 draft, the minor league edition. I guess the big league edition too, if you wanted to.
He's made an adjustment with his hands going back to where he was a few years ago when he was very successful. Bringing the hands out away from the body enough. He's incorporating a leg kick. Important for his timing.
Three one. This one's foul back. Full count now.
Imagine he's going to get a changeup here.
He gets one and he yanks it foul. It was up. Triple-A, 323, 6 home runs, 45 runs batted in, 13 doubles, 3 triples. Just over 60 games. One out double by Carlos Perez. He stands in scoring position. Now the one cued over towards second. Sanchez has it. 2 down. Perez ends up over at third base. Pitching coach Don Cooper coming out to pay a visit. The Shane Victorino duo. Jake Petrichko getting ready. White Sox have a ton of arms in that bullpen that can rush it up there. Mid to upper 90s. Shane tonight 0 for 2. Hit by a pitch back in the first. He's popped out and grounded out.
Still good life on the fastball. That 90, 104th pitch for Danks. Danks with one complete game this year, that being a shutout. Does have 6 wild pitches. Occasionally will bounce the breaking ball.
Case in point. Two balls, one strike. This is down the line and gloved by Saladino. Off balance throw. Abreu, you can't come up with it. That'll go. It should go as an infield base hit. The run scores. It's 5-2 Halos.
Well, Saladino can cover that ground down at third. Big base hit for Victorino. Huge run here late in the game. Going right down the line, just inside the base, but that throw, pretty accurate throw. One hop gets away from Abreu again, trying to catch the ball and apply the tag. How far he had to go. And a pretty good throw from that angle. A little bit up the first base line, but Abreu unable to scoop it.
Yeah, Abreu almost too quick, or trying to be too quick.
Catch and tag instead of getting that ball in the glove first and then applying the tag.
Cole takes down and in. Calhoun 1 for 3 night. Victorino, by the way, credited with a base hit and the RBIs. 5th RBI of the season. Cole bounces this into Abreu. He'll take it himself. Inning over, but the Angels tack on a run. We head to the 8th, and it's 5-2 Angels.
I'm Patrick O'Neill. I hope you stick around after the game for Angels Live. I'll be joined by Tim Salmon and Jose Mota. Alex Curry with the interviews. We'll have to talk about Garrett Richards, who's still in this game. The offense finding a way to manufacture some runs and hopefully walk away with the W. Now, so far, Caleb Cowart in his big league debut doesn't have a knock, but has played some pretty good defense, and this will certainly be a night he will never forget. His career so far has had more downs than ups, but he has persevered all the way to the bigs. Shows that if you work hard enough, believe in yourself, dreams could come true. Caleb told me he got the call late last night And he ended up talking to his parents at about 2 a.m. and there were definitely tears of joy. No family for Caleb here tonight, but tomorrow, parents, sister, nephew, girlfriend's parents will all be here at the Big A. Socials asked if Cowhert's the third baseman of the future. He wouldn't commit, saying only he's the third baseman tonight. As we go into Victor and Mark, do you care to comment if this kid will be the third baseman of the future for the Halos?
Yeah, I don't want to go ahead and say that yet. That hasn't necessarily been a good thing since Troy Gloss left, saying that someone is the third baseman of the future. So let's tap the brakes. Yeah, it's nice. It's a great story that he is up here and he's been able to work through his issues offensively to get to this point. Because you look at the offseason to right now, he was nowhere on the radar, off the 40-man roster, and he worked his way back up to the big leagues.
It's an amazing story as his career progresses with the Angels. We'll be able to tell it a little bit more so. But his defense tonight has been very, very good, and that arm strength, outstanding.
The 6th Angel to start at third base this year. Sanchez lifts one out toward right field. That'll get down for a base hit. So the leadoff man on board. 7th hit of the night for Chicago. And we'll bring up Tyler Flowers. Joe Smith getting ready. Ryan Jackson takes over at second base for Johnny Giavitello. Straight swap, so he will bat in the 7th hole. Flowers 0 for 2, a pop up and a strikeout. Boy, good location on that pitch.
Cut fastball at 96, so the velocity is still there. Richards' 94th pitch. He's got one more ground ball double play in him here.
Ground ball back to the mound through the legs. Jackson knocks it down. It stays on the infield, but that's an infield base hit. So 2 on here with nobody out to start the 8th. Wonder if that's going to be it for Garrett. A flare to right and an infield base hit, and that knocks Garrett out. Joe Smith will come on and pitch the 8th inning.
Very good game for Richards.
He will depart with a 5-2 lead and a couple of men on base. Joe Smith coming on in relief. In this 8th inning, considering it's a flare by Sanchez and an infield base hit by Flowers, but Mike Scioscia deciding to go with Joe Smith through 12 pitches last night. Smith will be facing Tyler Saladino with a couple of men on base. Sanchez at second, Flowers at first. It's our in and out, who's in, who's out. Joe on the season now pitching in his 52nd game, 4-3 mark at 2.77 ERA. Saladino, the third baseman, 1 for 2. Ground ball to third, a single up the middle in the 6th inning, stole a base and scored a run. Jam shot roller to second. Jackson comes in, feeds Ibar for 1. That's the only play. Sanchez ends up at third base. 1 out. Runners at the corners now for Adam Eaton. Eaton tonight 0 for 3. Strikeout and a couple of ground balls to Pujols. Slap foul.
Victorino playing extremely shallow in left field.
Eaton 1 for 3 in his career against Joe. Good speed, tough guy to double up unless he squares something up right to a fielder. Pretty good speed on the bases for the Sox. Sanchez over at third base and Saladino at first. Picked up his 5th stolen base in the 6th inning. 1-1. Breaking ball, that's in there. 1-2.
And a good change of speed on that breaking ball too. 40th game for Joe Smith against the White Sox. Does have 2 career saves. Very good ERA under 2.
Backdoor frisbee slider misses. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball rolled to second. Jackson goes to Ibar for 1. That's the only play they're going to get. Sanchez scores. And it's 5-3. Fielder's choice RBI for Eaton.
First baseman, number
2 outs now. And Jose Abreu coming up. He had nothing yet hit hard this inning. The run has come across. Abreu tonight 3 for 3. 2 singles and a double. He was 0-2 in all 3 at-bats at one point. The double that he hit in the 6th inning out the left center was on a 3-2 pitch. Caught the inside corner for a strike. Abreu just 0 for 1 against Joe. Handles in the bottom of the 8th have Trout, Pujols, and Crone coming up. Way outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Thought it was the third out of the inning. Almost got to the dugout. If he gets in the dugout, he is out at that point. Inning over.
Missed in. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nate Jones has joined in, getting ready in the White Sox pen. Tied him up nicely.
And ran that 2-seamer underneath the hands.
Two. Tied him up again. This is the bounce over to Coward. Goes across the diamond. Inning over. The Sox get a run. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th. Heart of the order coming up with the Angels up 5-3. Photo of the game. Tweet us your strongest fans photo to hashtag WestDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. And it's brought to you by T-Mobile. Bottom of the 8th inning. Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols. New pitcher on for the Sox. It's right-hander Matt Albers. Yellow's up 5-3. 15th game, 2-0 record at 2.21 ERA.
Pretty good for them this season. Fastball's 88-92. Slider, changeup.
Trout will look at his strike. Thanks tonight, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 of which were home runs. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 runs, 4 earned. Trout tonight 0 for 2, twice has grounded out to Saladino. Has also drawn a walk. Bouncing now, one in the dirt. Pujols on deck. Breaking pitch lifted to right. J.B. Shuck moving over. One down. Albert 1 for 3 with a home run he hit in the first. 33rd of the year. Chops this one off the plate to Alexi Ramirez. 2 down. So nobody on board for Crone. Looking ahead to the 9th for Chicago. Houston Street getting ready for his 3rd consecutive game. Cabrera, Garcia, and Shuck due up.
CJ's really done a nice job as far as getting that foot down and get the timing on his swing. It's been jammed last at bat. Just missed on a couple at bats prior to that.
One ball, one strike. Hitless tonight. 2 fly ball outs and a ground down. And that is hammered down the left field line. That certainly has home run distance, but it is foul. Right size, wrong shape.
And out quickly also.
Good sound to it.
Oh, tremendous.
He flares this one out to right field. Shuck comes racing in. He'll put it away, and the Angels go down in order. We head to the 9th. White Sox have 3, 4, and 5 coming up to face Houston Street. Is brought to you by Mercury Insurance, on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast free quote and see how much you can save.
And by Hyundai, the summer clearance is going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Halos up 5-3 as we start the 9th inning here at the Big A. Houston Street on a relief through 12 pitches last night. was able to pick up his 28th save. 2-1 win for the Angels. Hale was trying to make it 2 in a row. And really, more importantly, to stay 2.5 back of the Houston Astros, who won earlier today in a walk-off. Texas lost, so they drop a game in the standings. Baltimore lost, and Toronto won. When you start looking at the wild card, the Angels in that for the chase of the second wild card on the outside, looking in a half game out, so the opportunity to get back into that number 2 wild card spot with the Orioles losing. That's what we have in store over the next 5+ weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be
the old seesaw.
It is going to be back and forth all the way to that last weekend. That last weekend in Texas will be very interesting.
Melky Cabrera to lead things off here for the Sox. 0 for 3. 2 double play balls and a strikeout. Big swing and a miss by Cabrera. Street last night faced Saladino, Sanchez, and Beckham. Bottom third of the order. One and 2. Cabrera 2 for 7 in his career against Houston.
Evan LaRoche is also available off the bench for Robin Ventura.
There's the 1-2 outside. Just got him out in front a little bit, got a piece of it.
Yeah, good change up.
Last night the Angels used the long ball to pick up the victory 2-1, managing just 4 hits tonight. 5 hits, 2 more home runs, 2-run shot and a solo shot. A couple of solo runs the 4th and 7th, one of which was an unearned run. Garrett, by the way, tonight at 7 innings plus 2 batters, gave up 8 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 runs, 2 earned. Two again. Upstairs, full count. Back to the fastball there.
Another pitch upstairs, though. Another chance to put that ball in play.
Houston threw 24 pitches on Sunday, 12 last night. Those are 3 straight games. Nine pitches so far to Melky Cabrera. Avisail Garcia, the DH on deck, then J.B. Shuck. Last night in the 2-1 game, we saw LaRoche pinch hit for Garcia in the 8th. 3-2 again. And that is skied to right, playable for Cole. 1 down. Garcia, the DH, couple of hits tonight, both singles, 2 for 3 overall. First plate appearance for Garcia against Houston Street.
That's a good slider to start him off with. Looking fastball first pitch.
I know what I would throw him.
I was going to say same thing. You got to try 1 or 2 more of those pitches. He's been extremely quick on a fastball. You don't have to try to set him up at this point.
Oh, 2. Overthrown that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Going back outside with the off speed. Reaching for this one. That's a bouncer foul. One of the hits for Garcia was an infield hit, similar to the one in that one that he just hit toward Coward at third base. Garcia, for a big guy, can get down the line.
Great throwing arm, 12 outfield assists. No DHing in this game. Ton of talent. Question mark of staying healthy for him.
Ground ball to short. Ibar has it. 2 down.
That's a 20th out via a ground ball tonight for the Angels. 3 double plays.
So the Angels 1 out away of making it 2 in a row, taking the first 2 of this homestand. Jeff Samardzija, Jared Weaver going tomorrow night, game 3. Shark tonight is 0 for 3. Ground down, a strikeout, and the fielder's choice. Caught the inside corner. Evens up the count. JB asking Paul Nort for it as far as location is concerned.
Both of those pitches could have been called strikes in this at bat.
Off speed, a changeup. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. A little over 37,000 tonight. Travel pillow giveaway. We'll see if AAA travel. One-two count. Off the plate, 2 and 2. Jared Richards looking for his 12th win of the season. The Angels looking for their 62nd. There's the 2-2. Shuck fouls it back.
Or fastball. He has him set up now for a changeup to finish this game off.
Adam LaRoche has come out to the on-deck circle. This inning continues. He would bat for Alexei Ramirez. Two foul back.
He elevated that changeup.
White Sox lost 5 in a row out of the road. The Angels know what that's like. 2-2. Ground ball towards second. Jackson has it over the first. Light that baby up as the Angels make it 2 in a row tonight. The final 5-3.
The perfect way to end another ground ball out. 21 of them by Angel pitching today. The big swing in the first inning, a 2-run home run by Cole Calhoun. Albert Pujols, his 553rd career home run. Cole Calhoun, career high 18th home run today. But the pitching staff very, very solid throughout. A couple of runs later on, insurance runs important. The Eagles win the first 2 games of the series. Richards now 12-4 in his last 19 home starts.
Good to see him pick up his 12th win of the season. Houston streak closes it out, picks up his 29th save. Long ball last night, the 2 solo shots tonight in the first inning. Calhoun, a 2-run blast. New career high for him is 18th. Albert with his 33rd of the season, 553rd of his career. And Garrett Richards, that's all he really needed. Went to work. Very good performance for him tonight. No walks in picking up that 12th win.
Helped by 3 double plays turned behind him. Very good fastball with cut action consistently in the game for Garrett Richards.
John Danks went to work, so the Angels needed those extra runs. And both teams with unearned runs. The Angels made it stand up as they picked up the victory. 5-3. Let's go down to the field. Alex Curry was with Cole Calhoun.
Cole, the offense came firing right out of the gates tonight. You didn't waste any time with that 2-run home run. What was the game plan against Danks tonight?
We just want to get good pitches as a hit. We saw him last week, so kind of have an idea what he was going to try to do up there. But wanted to score some runs early for Garrett. That was it.
And a career high 18 home runs for you. Is something clicking for you this year post last?
They're going, I guess. I don't know. Just trying to help the team win.
And it was a great performance by Garrett Richards, as you mentioned. When he's on like that, you don't get very much action in the outfield. What's it like playing behind him?
It's great. When he's throwing strikes, he's one of the best in the league. So went out and threw a great game for us. Big win.
It was a big one. You guys have played well at home all season long. What is it like playing in front of this hometown crowd?
We love playing at home, that's for sure. Love playing for you guys.
Congratulations on a great win. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Angels take Game 2 against Chicago, make it 2 in a row here at the Big A for a final of 5-3 tonight. Stick around for Angels Live with Patrick O'Neill, Tim Salmon, and Jose Mota next.